to my channel. My name is Shawnaci if you guys are new, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite book recommendations. Now, this is a video I've actually never created before because I almost feel like book recommendations are like playlists, like music playlists. You know, it's like you learn a lot about a person by what they read, and I don't know, I love books so much. I feel like I keep that close to my heart, but I've had so many of you guys over on Instagram ask what books I read, so I thought that I would share 22 books that I have either read or plan on reading this year, and I feel like, crossing my fingers, I will be done with all of these like before the new year for sure, but I'm hoping I can be done within like the next couple months. Like, that's my goal. I used to read like 12 books a week as a kid, so I really want to get back to that type of reading. So I'm really excited to share with you guys all of these books. I'm going to try to kind of breeze through them so we can get through all of them and you guys can get some good recommendations for yourself. Comment below if you guys like this video after it's finished or as you're watching it, because like I said, I've never created a video like this, so I want to know what you guys enjoy best. So let's get into this, and I hope you guys enjoy. As I go through these books, I'm going to share fiction books and then books that you can read to like learn and kind of like better yourself. So I'm going to start first with a fiction book, and the next book will be like something that's more intentional, like for learning. This book is called Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This book I've read probably twice. It is a beautiful story of two people who pretty much just want to like be friends and like hook up, and they're not interested in a relationship. And as most relationships and love stories go, things get complicated and they kind of have to like figure things out as to like what they want to do next. So a lot of them have like things to work through. It's a really good book. I've read it a lot. You can see the pages are like really bent, and it's just a really good book. So I'll link it below for you. This next book is called Burnout, and it's by Emily Nagoski, and she has a PhD. So I haven't actually read this book, and it's all about like how stress physically changes your body. Some of the questions on the back say how to manage the monitor in your brain that regulates the emotion of frustration, what you can do to complete the biological stress cycle, and kind of like start being stressed, like when you start being stressed, what to do to like kind of get that stress out of your system. So I'm really excited to read this one. I feel like it's always good to read, but especially after last year, it's one I'm adding to my list. This next book is a great one. It's actually really old, but it's one that I just never get tired of. It's called Point, and it's about a girl who, she is just like really good at ballet, and that's kind of like her focus, but her best friend gets kidnapped, and the whole premise of the story is like the best friend was kidnapped, but then they like found the best friend, so you kind of get to like walk through their friendship and how that person has changed and just like all of that. It's a very deep book, and the main character, she like kind of struggles with like difficulty like eating and like not just focusing on food and like focusing on health. And so it's a really good, deep, dynamic book, and I'll link this one below for you guys as well. This book is called Captivating, and I would say this is for people who are of like the Christian faith or who are maybe more interested in that. This for me is a book I've probably read, I don't know, maybe 5 times just over the course of my life. I probably need to read it again. And it's all about how like God wants to romance you, and how like I feel like in church you really like hear a lot about like God's love, but you don't necessarily hear about how like that relationship is just on a deeper level, and how the like feelings that we have as people, we like want to be desired and loved, and how those can be filled by him. So it's a very good book for anyone who is like really searching for love and they don't really know like where to find it. I've read this millions and millions of times, and I think it's a great one for anyone to read. This next book is Big Little Lies, and I know a lot of people watch Big Little Lies on HBO, but I'm telling you, the book is a million times better. Like, you have to read the book, and it's all about pretty much a murder happens in this really like affluent area, and like no one really knows who the murderer is, and so you kind of are trying to like figure it out throughout the book, and it goes like in the future and the past, and so you see like a lot of stuff that happens and you kind of have to piece it all together. But it's a very good book, a lot of like deception, very good. I recommend it to you guys. I think you'll really like it. This book is called Atomic Habits, and I'm so excited to read this one because if you guys follow me over on Instagram, you guys know I have a morning routine that I stick to every single day, and there's just a lot of things that I just like, it's non-negotiable, like working out and things like that. And this is all about how tiny habits can completely transform your life. So I'm just really excited to read this. It kind of shows you how to break bad habits and how to start good ones, how to keep them going for like a long time and not just like a short period when you're like motivated. I'm really excited to read this one. I've heard great things about it, and I feel like this one might be my next read. This book is one I actually haven't read, but you guys over on Instagram told me I have to read it. And it's all about a couple, and they are like so in love, like so like, I don't know, just so infatuated with each other, and then one of them dies. And that's literally like what happens at the beginning of the book. And so you are kind of led through their love story from like start to finish throughout the book. I'm just really excited to read it because I feel like I love a good love story, but I also love like seeing someone work through like heartbreak, and obviously a death is a huge heartbreak in a different way than like a breakup. So I'm really excited to read this one too. This one that I'm reading is another book that's like for like really deep thinking, and it's called Tattoos on the Heart, The Power of Boundless Compassion. My friend Delaney actually told me to read it, and I feel like I've been reading this book for quite some time now, but it'll make you really think about like just yourself, and like it teaches you how to be more compassionate just towards literally anyone. It's about a like priest, or yeah, a priest, not a pastor, I think it's a priest, and he has a organization that helps people who have like been in a gang like get out of that and kind of like work in society. And you just hear all of their stories, and this is like a true story, and so you hear all these stories of people who went through literally the hardest things, and it almost makes me like really think like you don't know anyone's story and you have no idea just what people have gone through just by looking at them. And so I feel like I have it tagged in so many different places. It's highlighted, like it's a very, very good book. I would recommend this to you guys as one of the books I feel like for the new year to just really dig deep into, and I think it'll give you even more compassion than you feel like you already have. Coming back into fun fiction books, this book, so I kind of go between like, I love reading fiction, I love like books about learning, but I feel like whenever I'm stressed I read fiction books. It just really is like gripping, and whenever I really am like not as stressed I read books where I feel like I can learn. This is one of those where you will not be able to put it down, and it's just a really good way to kind of like get out of your own head and really relax. And it's called The Couple Next Door. It was a New York Times bestseller. They had a dinner party, and what happens is their child completely disappeared. So you're trying to figure out like what happened to the kid. Did someone kidnap it, or did someone who's at the dinner party kidnap? Like it's really, really good. And I feel like the ending is kind of like a crazy twist that you wouldn't really suspect. I really like this one, and I've heard this author is a very good author, so I feel like maybe I should read more from this author. I read this in like 2 days, so it's very small too, which I feel like is helpful. So yeah, I'll link this one below. Very, very good. This book I'm really excited to share because it's by freaking Shonda Rhimes, and we all know Grey's Anatomy, Bridgerton, all of those like movies and shows and stuff are just amazing. So I know her book is gonna be very, very good. So it's called The Year of Yes, and it's all about just saying yes. And it started because like a friend of hers asked her to like do something, and she was just like no, and then her friend was like, oh, you always say no to everything. And then she really had to reevaluate like why she felt the need to like say no instead of yes. And so on the front it says how to dance it out, stand in the sun, and be your own person. So I am really excited for this one. I feel like she just offers so much value. So it's just gonna be a really good book to read. This book is a little love story, and I actually haven't read it, but I heard so many good things from you guys on Instagram when I was asking about like the next book that I should start. So it's all about two people who meet, I'm pretty sure, at a wedding. Yeah, and they live in two totally different places, but they like end up falling in love. It says they're just two high-powered professionals on a collision course toward the long-distance dating disaster of the century, or closing the gap between what they think they need and what they truly want. So I'm excited to read this. I feel like, I don't know, this is just like that like Hallmark movie type book where you're like, you know, it's like they meet at a wedding or they meet on a farm or whatever, and then they like fall in love, and you just have to follow this story and like see like the pain of being separated, not living together, and then someone either moves or they break up. I just feel like this is going to be a good one. So I'll link this one below. It's another good one to add to your list of books to read. The next book is called I'm Still Here, Black Dignity in a World Made for Whiteness. And this is an amazing book. Like, I think I like it so much because I really resonated with it, because the character, she's a Christian woman. She is like in the corporate world, she's super successful, and it really shows just her whole life and how she still has to deal with like just different difficulties because of like her skin color. I really feel like this is a good book for anyone to read. Another good book is So You Want to Talk About Race, which I feel is more like actionable steps for like how to support Black people. But I feel like this one just gives you insight into small things that you don't feel like people have to deal with, or maybe you like aren't aware of, or if you deal with this on a regular basis yourself, it's a good book to feel like you're not alone. That's kind of how I felt. So yeah, great one, and I'll link this one below as well. This next book was a national bestseller, but it did come out a while ago, but I just recently bought it. It's supposed to be kind of like 50 Shades, I think, but someone I think just kind of took the idea and like redid it. But there's a whole series with this book, and it's about this guy named Damien who has like a haunted past, and he's really successful, and like the main character kind of has to work through that with him as they're like in this relationship. So it's almost the exact same premise, so I don't really know what the difference is here. But the reason it intrigued me was because 50 Shades came out so long ago, so I don't even really remember like the whole premise. So even if they literally took the entire storyline, I wouldn't even remember it. So yeah, really excited to read this one. It looks really good. This next book I actually picked up because one of you guys on Instagram said it was a good book to read, and I love recommendations. So comment below like your favorite book, either for just like learning or for fun. I would love to hear them because I love adding to like my book list. This book is called The Anatomy of Peace, Resolving the Heart of Conflict. And if you guys don't know, I actually have a background in like healthcare and like behavioral health, and so this was something that really like caught my eye whenever it was recommended to me. On the back, I'll just read what it says. It says, what if conflicts at home, conflicts at work, and conflicts in the world stem from the same root cause? What if we systematically misunderstood that cause? And what if, as a result, we systematically perpetuate the very problems we think we're trying to solve every day? So it's all about like literally resolving conflict, and that can be used in any facet of life, whether you're in healthcare or whether you're in sales or whether you're just like talking to your friends and family. I feel like just communication is so key, and that's why I'm really excited to read this one. Especially just last year, I feel like it was a crazy year, and it would have been good to have this kind of information just to be able to navigate like difficult conversations. So I'm excited to read this one, and it's by the Arbinger Institute. They're the best-selling authors of Leadership and Self-Discipline and The Outward Mindset. So it's like a whole like institute that created this like, I don't want to say like curriculum, but created this book. So I'm excited to read it and dive into it, and I'll let you guys know what I think. This next book is called Eligible, and I actually got this at a like book fair, but I was recommended like by a friend to get it, and I've been planning on buying it from like Amazon forever, and then I didn't, and then I saw it at the book fair. I was like, I need this in my life. So this book is actually like a modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love movies like Little Women that are like older, but they really tell like a story that's kind of timeless, like of a bunch of sisters who are trying to navigate their life and like navigate their way through the world. And this is literally that. It's all about just literally that exact same premise, just in like now, in like a new time period, and not like in like back in that time. So I'm excited to read this. I feel like I always just really get a good escape and can just like fully relax when I read books like this, because there's so many different characters and you kind of have to keep up. So it'll be a good one. I'll link this one for you guys too. This next book I got more for like a career purpose. It's called Influencer: Building Your Personal Brand in the Age of Social Media, and it's by Brittany Hennessy. It pretty much talks about how like we all have influence, and in any facet of our life, like we need to recognize that influence, but it also gives you like, it says the blueprint to manage and monetize your influence as a content creator. So it's specifically towards like this industry. So you feel like if you're interested in this type of work, or like building your social media just as a brand, or you have maybe a business of your own, you're wanting to build your social media, I think that this would be a great book for that. It says on the back, it shows you how to build an audience, keep them engaged, package your brand, and pitch your favorite companies, monetize your influence and figure out how much to charge, getting on the radar of your favorite sites, landing an agent, praising a brand without alienating their competitors. So a lot of good basics, and I feel like for me, this is just always good information to kind of review. So I'm excited to read it. I think it'll have a lot of good insights. This book is called Monday's Not Coming. It's another fiction one, and you guys have kind of seen how I've gone back and forth between like the fiction and like the more serious, because I usually read one of each at the same time, because sometimes I need to relax and read fiction, sometimes I really want to learn and I will read like something for that. So this book is about how the main character's best friend disappears, and like no one really cared or noticed that she was gone, and then she returned a year later, and like what happened and like why she disappeared, and you kind of like walk through that. I haven't read it, but I love books like this that are like kind of a thriller, but not like gore or anything, just like who did it type books, but not a crazy mystery like a detective. You know, it's just like a could possibly happen in real life. So I really like books like this. I think it'll be good. It's a pretty like nice size. So I'm excited to read it. I feel like it'll be a good thriller, and I'll keep you on the edge of my seat. This next book I've actually been wanting to read for a full year, and I am just, last year I feel like was an insane crazy year just for everyone, but I did not make reading a priority, and I definitely want to this year. And this book is called Becoming a Prayer Warrior, and it's by Elizabeth Alves, and this is a guide to effective and powerful prayer. So if you're a Christian, like this is a good book for you. I feel like there are very few books that really dive deep into like going that extra mile, you know? Like I feel like there's a lot of like surface level Christianity books, but this one like really dives deep. There's like a lot of scriptures. It's all in KJV. This was actually a book that my mom read, and she was like, this is really good. It has a lot of like just good tips for how to pray, and just like to get your relationship closer to God, but also to just like, I don't know, just like grow in your prayer, I guess. So I'll link this one below. I'm excited to read this, and I feel like I just keep getting so busy and not reading it, but I'm gonna put this on my list of books to read, and I'm definitely gonna be reading it and spending a lot of time on it. So this next book is about 4 friends who go on an all-expense paid trip to Jamaica, and while they're like in Jamaica, something happens. Let me read it back. It says, while they're on the private beach, gourmet dinners, and late nights of drinking, a powerful hurricane bears down the island, and turmoil swirls inside the villa, forcing each of the women to reevaluate everything she's known about her friends and herself. So pretty much these 4 women go on this like little getaway, and while they're there, they're just like kind of complaining about their lives and stuff, and then that hurricane happens, and it really puts them into like perspective of like just life and like what's important. I'm excited to read this because I love a good book that kind of teach me something in the end, but also is like kind of lighthearted too at the same time. So it'll be a good one. I love books about friendship, and I think this one looks like a good one to add to my list. This book is called Thrive, and it's by Ariana Huffington. So my sister actually bought this book for me, and I've been needing to read it, but I just haven't really made time. But I promise this year is the year. Do you guys feel the same way? Like comment below if you guys are also wanting to read more this year. I feel like if we all read together, that's just gonna be like more encouragement to do it. But this book is about a woman who pretty much she ends up like falling because she was just so stressed. I think she like passes out or something, or faints or whatever, and it was really a wake-up call for her to figure out like just what her priorities are and how to redefine what she sees as success in life, because she was just overworking herself. So it really talks about how to balance your life as you're kind of like working in just like the working world, but also like how to truly define success and not make it measured off of like how much you're doing each day, but like other things. So I'm excited to read this because I feel like I do work an insane amount and sometimes I don't take breaks, and I feel like I can resonate with this already, and it'll just be a really good one to kind of like keep me in check and pull me back to reality. This next book is one that's called This Side of Home, and it's by a best-selling author. It's about two sisters, and pretty much their neighborhood like starts getting like revamped. Like they add like a Starbucks in there and they kind of gentrify like the area, and so one of the sisters is really super like excited about it, and like all these new things are being added and new people are wanting to come to her like part of the town because like they're adding all these really cool things. And the other sister, she kind of is like upset by that because she's seeing her culture being like stripped away and like all the memories of like places that she's kind of grown up in. So it's a really good like book that I'm excited to read because I feel like it's easy for us to be excited for like new development and stuff, but we forget sometimes the people who've grown up in those areas, and how important those things can be to them. So excited to read it as always, and I'll link it below for you guys. This book is one I feel like everyone has read and I haven't yet, so I need to like get it together. But it's called More Than Enough, and it was actually a New York Times bestseller. It says throughout Elaine's life, she's climbed the ranks of media and fashion, shattering ceilings along the way. Now the groundbreaking journalist unpacks lessons on race, identity, and success through her own journey, from navigating her way as the unstoppable child of an interracial marriage in a small town California to finding herself on the front lines of a movement for the next generation of change makers. So I feel like this is giving me the vibe of I'm Still Here by Austin Channing Brown that I kind of told you about, and I feel like I loved that book because I really resonated with it, so I feel like I'm really going to resonate with this one too. So I'll link this one below. I love books just about people's lives and just like getting to learn from them, so I'm really excited to read this one. It's one I need to like put to the top of my list for sure. All right, you guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed. I know that was a lot of books and it took a lot of time, but if you're a book reader like myself, I feel like I love finding books that like my friends are reading. So if you're a book reader, you're probably really excited about this whole list, and hopefully you found some good recommendations for yourself. Comment below a book you're reading that you're loving, or a book you've read that you think that I should read, because I love adding to my list of books. I really am going to try to work through all these really quickly. Like that's my goal. One thing that I really wanted to do in the new year was to read more. I feel like I sit on books for a long time because I don't prioritize my time, like in a sense of adding books into that. But I started reading in the mornings and reading at night. I read 10 minutes in the morning. Usually I'll read more, but I at least tell myself you have to at least read 10 minutes. And then at night I read 20 minutes. So I'm reading 30 minutes a day, and I've been doing that even before the new year. It's really helped me. So I recommend to you, if you're having a hard time reading, set for yourself, even if it's like only read 5 minutes in the morning, only read 5 minutes, because when you think about it in total, if you read 5 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, that's 15 minutes a day, and you can really get through books a lot faster. I think I started that in like November, and it's been really helpful for me. I started just reading in the evening, and now I read in the morning and evening. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.